Love, BDSM, BDSM for love, or love for BDSM. Welcome to the House of Athena, the podcast where Mrs. Athena herself will bring light upon the mysteries of BDSM play. My aim is to teach you everything I know about pleasures and seduction and to get your kink life to the next level. Of course, always remember to play it safe and to take care about each other. Imagine BDSM as a quest towards yourself and your partner. So you're searching for new sensations, a new exciting thrill. You want to understand a little bit what you're made of and maybe try to get a little bit deeper into the psychology of your partner. In this episode, I'll talk what the place of love is in the BDSM relationship and if it is compatible with BDSM. For the purpose of this episode, I'll talk about BDSM as a non-commercial form of sexual or artistic practice. It's also important to explain how you can engage a partner who at first sight is not willing to give it a try. How can you gain someone's interest for BDSM? The reason why there are so many topics to talk about in BDSM is because it's mysterious, and lifting the veil on this multidisciplinary practice, it is not something you do in one podcast, right? So here is another podcast about BDSM and love. Now let me first define what love is and what BDSM is, just shortly, from a relationship perspective. As I told you before, I'm not going into the commercial BDSM relationship because at first this is commercial. This is not love-based. Still, you could argue that it is love-based because one practitioner, the dominant, is doing it out of love for BDSM, and the other, the submissive, is also searching for dominant for love of what BDSM can bring them. Still, the starting point for this podcast is just a relationship, non-commercial, relationship-based approach to BDSM. If you want to go a little bit more in depth to what I'm telling you here, please read The Art of Loving from Erich Fromm, and also from the same author, Escape from Freedom. Very interesting. I can only recommend those two for you. If you really want something that is more BDSM based, just read Escape from Freedom. As a professional BDSM coach for couples, which I really love, I see mostly two problems. Most of the time, the reason why they come to see me is because the couples are really both interested. They heard about it, they saw movies, they've been inspired through music and other things they saw maybe on television. And they just don't know how to start. And this problem is not something I'm going deeper into for this podcast, but somebody on my Instagram asked me how to start with BDSM. Exactly. That is most likely the reason why couples come to see me and engage me to see how we can start up a game. That is why I'm writing a game. I'm making actually a card game that will be an instigator to a BDSM play for couples and a very playful way to start a conversation with your partner. The game will be ready soon. I'm working with an illustrator right now, and my writing process is almost to the end. I can tell you that I'm almost 80% done with that. Now, the second problem I see with coaching couples is that only one of the two partners is really interested and the other one is not willing to give it a try or even to listen out what's going on in there. And then the question that is very interesting in there is, how do you convince or try to convince somebody to listen to you or even give the BDSM game a try? Now, why I'm going deeper into, especially the second problem, let me first define a little bit what BDSM is and what love is. Now, the Picture BDSM as the basics. You heard it over and over again: bondage, domination, submission, sadomasochism, even the D can be domination. BDSM involves acts of bondage, power exchange, psychological and physical pain, and pleasure through sadism and masochism. Oh dear Lord. Kind of destructive terms, isn't it? So how can love be compatible with those terms? Love, sadomasochism, love, pain, love, bondage, love and power exchange. How can BDSM and love be compatible? If on one hand you have BDSM being quite destructive, as I told you before, and love, on the other hand, is supposed to be a gift from yourself. You know, everything that is rich inside of yourself, you want to give it to your partner, and you want to share it, and you want to share your life and what's most precious to yourself. You are ready to open up completely to that partner. I'm going to go a little bit deeper into love, okay? Love for me is an art, and you can learn it. The same way you can learn BDSM. Again, I'm talking about this in my manual for my game of cards. When you truly love someone, you are creating a space where you are giving them the depths of your soul, the best of yourself. Okay, so how can we say that masochism, sadism, pain is love? Again, I'm repeating myself, but I want to make this very clear. Now, I want to go into the second part, okay? Now, just to illustrate that and to have a complete answer, let me go into that problem. So when a partner is starting to talk about BDSM, is opening up and is asking for that to their other partner. When that other partner is truly loving you, they will never use words as disgusting or laugh with you or ridicule you. When the love is real, you sit down and you listen carefully to what that person has to say. You show interest. You might even question it in order to understand what they are truly searching for and what their motivations and reasons are. So you see, love has a part in that. You're willing to give yourself, okay? So you're hearing out your partner. You give that a place in your life, because that is part of what your partner is all about. They might be interested in something new. On the other hand, when you love your partner, and when you are the one being interested and you'd like them to consider BDSM session with you, you might think about the best approach, okay? What you truly want is to engage that person you love in your BDSM journey, right? So you might give it a reflection time to think like, okay, maybe that person can be disgusted. Maybe that person doesn't want to hear it. But how can I make that person listen to my story? So you might use a kind of hidden form of negotiation. So imagine you want your partner to give BDSM a try, okay? And for example, you want to worship her feet. A classical issue that could be is that she finds it kind of awkward. Then try to imagine how you could convince her. Maybe with a foot massage. You know, I'd like to worship your feet, but you can gain out from it. I can massage your feet, you can relax while I am just doing my job. Or maybe you can buy a special oil. You can maybe research how to do a pedicure, or by going shoe shopping, for example. So imagine what is in it for your partner. What can they gain out of it? How could they enjoy this adventure? That is the way you should approach your conversation that you will initiate with your partner. Too many people, and that's really true, I see it in my emails also, Too many people start their conversation by talking about what they want. And I can tell you, when a candidate is sending me an email and that in every sentence, you see that that person is starting with the word I want, I'd like to, I'm interested in. Sorry, but this email really gets no answer. It is truly disappointing. That is absolutely not what you want to engage yourself with. You want to make the journey interesting to your partner. So you have to think by yourself, sit down, think by yourself. What is my partner going to enjoy in this journey? Maybe a foot massage? Yeah, why not? Do your best. That's my recommendation. Don't think about yourself. Don't be selfish. And that's part of love. That goes into the direction of how I would define love. It's thinking about what's in it for your partner also. Okay, another example could be you'd like to try anal play. Okay, so we're going into something a little bit more extreme. You'd like to try anal play on yourself, and you'd like to play that with your partner. Please don't go all in with scaring terms like fisting and anal destruction. Just start little by attracting somebody into their journey. That is also a way to make it more understandable, okay? Just by going little by little. You can, for example, give a few clues, or just ask your partner, like, let's do some sex shopping, and then you go to the shop and you see a nice plug and you say, hey, look, I'd like to try this. Will you help me out? Maybe we can choose a loop together. That's how you open up little by little. Then I had another question. Someone asked me, what if BDSM is really impossible for your partner, but you still would love to try? So I can clearly understand that some persons are not eager to introduce uncommon sexual practices onto their dearest partner in their life, for whatever reason it could be, okay? You can have a veto for that. You cannot force somebody into this kind of very sensitive, actually, psychologically sensitive games. Imagine the mother of your children suddenly overmastering you, insulting you. Well, maybe that's not how you imagined your relationship. So if that person still wants to dominate, you could turn the conversation towards finding someone else to try it on. You see, there is always a way around. If this person truly loves you, and again, I'm talking about love, then that person is opening up. You only have one life, okay? So you have a very constructive conversation about the fact that you want to try something out. In that case, and you know it, there are many other options. If your partner doesn't want to play with you, you can go see a professional. Or, if you don't want, you can search somebody on FetLife or on whatever social media you can enjoy yourself to find somebody in, to give that a try. There are enough persons, trust me, who want to try and who don't have the partner to do it. You see, in this type of discussion you will have with your partner that you want to try it with somebody else, you can even ask your partner if they see an objection on how far this type of relationship might go. For example, if you ask your partner, can I go see a professional? And she says, yes, but I don't want you to have sex, or I don't want you to kiss her, or I don't want you to go see a professional. But you can still find another person just to try this with, maybe on FetLife. Again, it's a way of showing how much you'd like to try something new, and you only have one life, but you show the respect and the due respect to your partner, and you're willing to apply certain rules by conversating, by talking with your partner about that. Honesty really lasts longest, and you know that. Now, I had a very interesting question about, and it's quite a complicated answer. Somebody asked me what the place of love is in a 24/7 BDSM relationship. I will try to answer it this way. So, the starting point of this whole podcast is it's a love relationship. You are really lovers and you're into a relationship. You love each other, or that's what you think, okay? One dominant, completely in charge of what happens with the submissive, so an active partner, and the submissive, who's handing over all power. So you have a passive partner, okay? This is power exchange. When you think this power exchange is a form of love, then the fact that they are completely dependent on each other, it makes that the love is imperfect. Why? Because they need each other. They are needy for each other. The dominance is exercising his power onto the submissive, okay? That's the way he exercises his love. He needs that person to engage in a love relationship. And on the other side, you have the submissive being the instrument of the dominant, participating in how great and how powerful they feel. This relationship is almost like I don't like to say that, but it's like a mother-child relationship. And without that connotation BDSM, would there really be love? One partner is the oxygen of the other, and there are certainly expectations from each one of them towards the other. In a purely loving relationship, you love your partner without BDSM being involved, or with BDSM being involved, but not in a 24/7 relationship, okay? You just love that person. You give the best of yourself. It comes from an active verb perspective. You do that. You love that person without expectations in return. In a BDSM relationship, expectation is completely there. You want that other person to dominate you. And on the other hand, you do everything for that person to feel great, to feel powerful, to feel in charge, because you're handing over all your power. You see, love for me, it needs to be seen as an active something, a verb. It is acting towards someone, how much you love them, want to share with them, want to do things with them, and want to give the core value of your soul towards that person who loves you in return when your love is happy. There are no expectations. The love is pure and whole and not predefined by a power exchange. I know it's a bit complicated, but love is not something to take lightly or that can be traded or found easily. It needs practice and needs to be understood as a need for a human to connect with each other or with themselves. Did I say BDSM is a bad form of love? Of course not. But it will leave you expecting from the other. You need the other. And I'm only talking about the 24/7 relationship, okay? If you just practice BDSM in your love relationship, it's not the same. But in the end, when you just practice 24/7 relationship and you want to compare this with love, in the end, you will find out that destroying yourself for the sake of someone else's power, the dominance power, or destroying your partner by means of exercising your power is not the way to feel complete and whole in your soul. Now, I will end with another question that I found quite funny. And what if you get too attached to your mistress? I think that person meant commercial mistress, but anyway, I will answer it. Or maybe just mistress in real life, without that being your partner. Well, or she loves you in return, and then you have to announce that you love her, and you will see what the result is, if that person loves you in return, or that love is not shared, and then your love is unhappy. Of course, you cannot change the fact that a mistress can be your one desire, object of your worship, but then can you tell me how this is different from the love of a deity, of a god, a celebrity, if your love is not shared? Someone on my Instagram told me sacred sex energy. Just these 3 words when I asked, do you have questions? Now I would even say sacred sex synergy. I found it quite beautiful anyway. That's why I integrated. When 2 people or 2 persons love each other and engage in any form of sexual expression, the symbiosis of the 2 bodies moving and reacting upon each other's breath, heartbeat, movements, that is sacred. BDSM can give an extra aesthetic and ritualized dimension to any sexual expression or practice. But some don't need BDSM to get that space where body and mind are intertwined and reaching for potential divine. On that note, everybody, I hope you enjoyed this podcast. Of course, any questions are welcome, and you can subscribe on my Patreon if you want to support my work and find few videos about pro-doming and photos I never shared before. And of course, if you enjoy this podcast, make sure to share it with your friends, with your partner, of course, and leave it a like on my social media. With love.